Protesters took to the streets of Phnom Penh this week demanding Cambodians get a free and fair national election. The demonstrators want international monitoring of the poll due at the end of July. Rainsy is Cambodia's opposition leader, and even at this late stage he does not know whether he will be allowed back into his country to contest the election. Rainsy, welcome to the program.
Thank you.
Will you return to Cambodia, do you think? Do you think you will have a chance to contest these elections personally?
If there is any free and fair election, yes, definitely I will take part in that election.
The government has its conditions for your return. You probably have some of your own. There is this unresolved case you have against Hun Sen hanging over him. What are your terms for a return to Cambodia?
I want the Cambodian government to follow the recommendations from the United Nations, and those UN recommendations are supported by the whole world. Therefore, the Cambodian government must abide by the UN recommendations.
Isn't that a vain hope, though, given that Hun Sen has already thrown them out and simply said they're ridiculous?
No, Cambodia cannot afford to reject the UN recommendations. The Hun Sen government would have the whole world against them. Cambodia cannot afford to be isolated. Cambodia heavily depends on international assistance. Therefore, we have to take into account opinion expressed by donor countries and by the international community at large.
But despite all that's happened, there have been interruptions to aid, but despite all that's happened, many countries are still providing considerable assistance to Cambodia, and again it would be something of a vain hope to expect that even despite what has happened that will end.
No, this time is different, because more and more Cambodians have been victim of the economic policy of the Hun Sen government. I am referring to land grabbing, land confiscation, expulsion of farmers from their lands, from their homes. This is a tragedy that has been denounced by all international human rights organizations, and poverty is getting worse and worse. Human rights violations are more and more serious, and this is the first time that the UN has stepped in since 1993, calling for free and fair elections.
On that question of land confiscation, if you do get the chance to personally contest the elections, I presume that would be one of the fundamental planks of your campaign. But what else is of prime importance to you in terms of a platform for Cambodia's future?
What is the most important is the rule of law, the fight against corruption, transparency, accountability, in one word, good governance. Cambodia is going down the drain because of government corruption. Corruption is systemic. According to Transparency International, Cambodia is one of the world's most corrupt country. And according to the World Bank, Cambodia is one of the world's the poorest countries. So therefore we have to curb corruption in order to reduce poverty. I call on donor countries to help Cambodia promote democracy. Otherwise, Cambodia will remain a sinkhole for international assistance. We will remain a beggar nation. We will remain poor. The best way to help a poor country like Cambodia is to help it help itself.
One dead journalist at least, others silenced, and environmentalists assassinated. among other things. How can elections be free and fair with that, against that backdrop?
In 1993, the United Nations has intervened and organized the first ever democratic elections in Cambodia because the Paris Peace Accords.
But that was an election you won. Since then, the UN has not been allowed to intervene as far as I am aware. Why in those circumstances would Hun Sen allow the UN to be involved when it's likely to produce, or may well produce, a result he's not going to like?
No, because what is happening now in Cambodia is contrary to the Paris Peace Accords that many countries, including Australia, has signed. Therefore, the international community has not only the right but the obligation to put the democratic path, the democratization process back on track.
Sam Rainsy, thank you very much indeed.
Thank you.